There are two versions of the Remington Model 1900 in Battlefield 1, the sawed-off shotgun and the normal variant. We'll be looking at the normal variant that is available in the Assault class, as opposed to the one that is available with the Elite class. The weapon came with the In the Name of the Tsar DLC and comes in two separate versions, the Factory and the Slug. Again, for this video, I'll be focusing on the Factory. The Slug variant is very useful, but as popularity with that is fairly low, most people like to go for the Factory, and I'm one of those people. I'm going to stick with that gun. I'm also going to compare the weapon to the Model 10A Hunter when I look at how decent the gun is overall. The Model 10A is the most popular shotgun by quite a distance, and although the 1900 is a DLC weapon and that lends to some of the lower usage stats, I still feel like it's worth comparing to the Model 10A Hunter, as that thing is a beast. I've used pretty much all of the shotguns in the class, and I feel as if the 10A is an all-round beast if you're choosing to take a shotgun, and the Hunter variant is the best out of the three. So let's start off with a straight comparison with the 10A Hunter. Now, of course, with the 10A, you are going to have a 6-round magazine as opposed to a 2-round with the 1900. Remember, it's a double-barrel shotgun, so you're only going to get 2 rounds at the very most. When it comes to recoil, you're going to have less with the Model 10A, but again, you've got 6 rounds, you need to be getting on target a lot more and resetting the gun after a shot. With the 1900, you can only fire 2, and to be honest, you might be firing them both at once, making use of the single and double fire mode options. When you're looking at the advantages of the Model 1900, you've got to consider that it has a much higher fire rate than the Model 10A. That means you can fire both barrels very, very quickly, and if you choose to, you can fire them both at the same time, as I mentioned before, and that is incredible fun, as you can see from the stuff in the background. You can push a building and just annihilate everybody. You have to really make sure you've got cover, because obviously you have to reload if you're firing one shot, but it's almost like using the Obrez or the Martini Henry. It's a one-shot reload, and you're going to get a kill every time you shoot somebody. Now, funnily enough, the Model 1900 Factory has a lot faster recoil decrease. That's 200% less than the Model 10A Hunter, which means you can be getting back on target faster. The significantly less spread per shot is also nice, because you're not going to be getting that ridiculous spread increase while ADSing. And when you hip fire, of course, you're going to be getting less spread as well. Now, to be fair, the 10A Hunter's a weird gun, because I often find that I can shoot down range at somebody and do 10 damage and then do exactly the same shot on somebody else at the same distance and do 100. It's a bit of a buggy weapon, but for me the 1900 removes some of that and it's very, very reliable for the most part. Now, when you're looking at equal stats, of course this is the same with a lot of shotguns on the game. Same maximum damage, same minimum damage, same bullet drop, same muzzle velocity. But the biggest difference for me, and this is one that you don't really need stats to take a look at, is the playstyle you have to adopt. With the 1900, you can only fire 2 rounds. That means you can only take on a maximum of 2 enemies at any given time, and you're going to have to be using your sidearm a whole lot more. If you're using the Model 10A Hunter, you can take 6 enemies on at once, and although you have a little bit of time between each pellet, because you obviously have to reload and get the next pellet ready, you're going to be doing way more damage over the course of 6 rounds than you would just with the 2 and then having to reload with the 1900. They're different weapons for different situations, however they are both very, very useful in certain situations. The 1900, in my opinion, is an amazing building clearer. There's no other gun I'd rather have than the Model 1900 Factory. Set it to the double fire mode, because then you're firing more stuff downrange and just anything in your way is going to get absolutely flattened. It makes an incredible sound, and the person on the receiving end is going to be in the spawn screen before they can even blink. I like to team it up with the Obrez. The Obrez is a very, very high skill gun to use in terms of the consequence of you missing. If you miss with the Obrez, you can't just straight away fire another shot, so it relies on you to hit your shots. And when I say high skill, there are several weapons or several sidearms that are high skill, such as the Mars Automatic can be as well, or the revolvers. If you're using the Taschenpistole or something like that and you're just spamming at enemies, maybe that, in my opinion, is slightly less skillful. So I would say that the Obrez is a very good option to choose. Now, I've made this video purely because I'm really enjoying the Model 1900, and it's something that I want you guys to try out if you haven't already. I know it's locked behind a DLC, and that's a real pain because this weapon is really, really fun. And also, something quite interesting is that I think DICE, if they do make the World War II game, will introduce the Model 1900 Factory, or at least a variant of that, into the game, into World War II. Now, the reason I think this is because double barrel shotguns, they're incredibly common, and they were common in the Second World War II, maybe not so much, but they were definitely there, and obviously trench guns were there too. Now I have made a video, it's either come out just before I've released this video or will be coming out just after because I'm not sure on my schedule. And in that video it goes through all the potential weapons that we might see in Battlefield World War II, and the double barrel shotgun is definitely there. Now if DICE do that, and if DICE release the World War II game, if that's what they're working on as we are led to be believed, then they're probably going to keep the same damage model as they've got with this gun, and obviously the only way that would change is if they did implement their TTK change, but I don't think they're going to do that anytime soon. It's been a long time since that was announced and it still hasn't happened. That's quite an interesting point. You might want to start using the Model 1900 now, almost for practice for when the World War II game comes out, because trust me, it's difficult to use, but when you get to grips with it, it's an absolute machine. Let me know in the comments if you like the Model 1900 factory. Let me know if you use it, or do you prefer the Model 10A Hunter. For me, the 1900 is almost taking the crown away from the Hunter as the best shotgun in class. The only thing that's obviously holding it back is the fact you get 2 rounds instead of the 6 you get in the 10A. But as I said, if you mix it with your sidearm correctly, and obviously make sure you use cover and don't pick on loads of enemies at once, you will be formidable. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.